Okay, so today we're diving into something truly fascinating. The intersection of Raja Yoga techniques for emotional control and Stoic philosophy. It's like finding two ancient maps leading to the same hidden treasure, inner peace and resilience. You might think, oh great, another self-help talk, but trust me, this isn't about telling you to just think positive and everything will magically fix itself, because let's be honest, that's about as helpful as a screen door on a submarine during a monsoon. We're going deeper into the practical mechanics of how your mind works and how you can actually train it. Consider this a mental fitness journey where the weights are your emotions and the gym is your own consciousness. For centuries, thinkers from diverse cultures have grappled with the same fundamental question. How do we navigate the turbulent seas of our inner lives without being capsized by every rogue wave of feeling? Both the ancient Indian tradition of Raja Yoga and the Hellenistic philosophy of Stoicism offer surprisingly similar, yet distinct frameworks for answering this very question. They converge on the profound insight that our suffering often stems, not from external events but from our internal reactions and interpretations. This shared wisdom, spanning millennia and continents, speaks to a universal human desire for tranquility and mastery over the self. You're probably used to your emotions dictating your reactions, right? A snarky comment, a frustrating traffic jam, or a sudden unexpected bill can send your mental state spiraling faster than a lost drone. The Stoics, with their emphasis on reason and virtue, would argue that these external events are neutral. It's our judgment of them that causes distress. Seneca, one of the most prominent Stoic philosophers, famously wrote that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. This isn't to say your feelings aren't valid, but rather to question the power you give them. Parallelly, Raja Yoga, often translated as royal yoga or king's yoga, views the mind as a vast, powerful, but often untamed kingdom. Its core premise, outlined in Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, is that true liberation comes from mastering the fluctuations of the mind, yoga chitta vritti nirodha. It's a remarkable historical coincidence that both systems, developed independently across continents, arrived at such similar conclusions about the mind's role in human suffering and flourishing. Historians still debate the extent of any ancient cultural exchange that might have subtly influenced these parallel developments. Some scholars point to potential, albeit indirect, connections via trade routes, while others suggest it's simply a testament to the universality of human experience and the mind's structure. It truly makes you wonder, doesn't it? Think of your mind as a bustling city, full of life, commerce, and sometimes chaos. Your thoughts and emotions are like the citizens, some orderly, some unruly. Without proper governance, the city descends into anarchy. The Raja Yoga tradition, particularly through its emphasis on meditation and concentration, dharana and dhyana, provides a systematic approach to establishing that governance. It's not about suppressing emotions, which is about as effective as trying to hold back a sneeze with a feather, but rather about observing them, understanding their impermanent nature, and choosing how you respond. This aligns beautifully with the Stoic practice of dispassion, apatheia, which isn't apathy in the modern sense, but rather a state of mind free from irrational disturbances. It's about cultivating a calm, clear perspective, allowing you to react to situations with wisdom rather than impulse. For instance, imagine receiving an unfair criticism at work. Your immediate reaction might be anger or defensiveness. A Stoic would advise you to pause, analyze the situation rationally, and ask if the criticism holds any truth. A Raja Yogi would guide you to observe the rising anger, recognize it as a passing mental phenomenon, and then consciously choose a calm, measured response, perhaps even viewing it as an opportunity for self-improvement rather than a personal attack. This intentional pause, this space between stimulus and reaction, is where true freedom lies. Both philosophies nudge you towards an understanding that true freedom isn't found in controlling the external world, but in controlling your internal reactions to it. This is a liberating thought, isn't it? Because while you can't stop the rain, you can certainly choose to bring an umbrella. The Raja Yoga tradition breaks down the path to this inner mastery into 8 limbs, with the initial limbs focusing on ethical conduct and self-discipline, building a foundation for mental stillness. Similarly, Stoicism places great emphasis on virtue, arete, including wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance as the ultimate good. For a Stoic, living virtuously means aligning your actions with reason and nature. A little-known fact is that some ancient Stoic exercises involved consciously exposing oneself to minor discomforts, like cold baths or sleeping on hard surfaces, to build resilience against greater hardships, a practice not unlike certain ascetic disciplines found in yogic traditions designed to test and strengthen the will. This deliberate practice of discomfort in a controlled environment helps train your mind not to be overwhelmed by adversity, teaching it that true comfort comes from within. It's a pragmatic approach to building mental toughness, much like a seasoned sailor preparing for a stormy voyage, rather than just hoping for calm seas. So, where do we begin this journey of integrating these two powerful wisdom traditions? It starts with awareness. Both Raja Yoga and Stoicism stress the importance of understanding yourself, your biases, and your automatic reactions. For Raja Yoga, this awareness is cultivated through practices like mindful breathing and concentration, drawing your attention inward and observing the subtle movements of your thoughts. For Stoicism, it involves constant self-reflection, journaling, and applying reason to your thoughts and beliefs through exercises like negative visualization, where you contemplate potential losses to appreciate what you have. Think of it as installing a sophisticated mental GPS that can reroute you when you're about to drive off a cliff of irrational emotion. Imagine trying to drive a car blindfolded. That's often how we navigate our emotional landscape without these tools. It's a funny thought, isn't it? The goal isn't to become emotionless automatons, but to become the mindful architects of our internal experience. We want to be able to choose our responses, rather than being dragged along by every passing feeling. This isn't an overnight transformation. It's a lifelong practice, a continuous refinement of your inner world, empowering you to live with greater purpose and peace. Having laid the groundwork for understanding the shared principles of Raja Yoga and Stoicism, we now turn our gaze towards the practicalities of mastering the mind's turbulent waters. You know that feeling, right? When your thoughts race like wild horses, or your emotions swell up like a sudden summer storm, leaving you feeling utterly adrift. It's a universal human experience, and it's also why both these ancient wisdom traditions offer tangible methods, not just abstract theories. Think of it like learning to sail. You can read all the books you want about winds and currents, but until you actually get on the water and feel the tiller in your hands, you're just a passenger. The goal here isn't to eliminate emotions. That would be like trying to turn off the weather. Instead, it's about learning to navigate them, to steer your ship through the storm rather than letting it be tossed about at the mercy of every gust and wave. It's about cultivating an inner compass that always points to your true north, even when the external world feels disorienting. The Stoics, particularly through the teachings of Epictetus, emphasized the critical distinction between what is within our control and what is not. This fundamental principle, often called the dichotomy of control, is perhaps the most liberating concept you can embrace in your life. Your opinions, your impulses, your desires, your aversions, these are unequivocally within your control. They are products of your own mind and your own choices. Conversely, your body, your property, your reputation, and indeed everything outside of your own actions and judgments, these are emphatically not within your control. This is a profound shift in perspective, isn't it? If you're constantly fretting about things beyond your power, like the capricious stock market or what someone else thinks of your new haircut, you're essentially handing over your peace of mind to external forces that you can never truly command. Interestingly, the concept of karma in Eastern philosophies, including the broader context of Raja Yoga, often touches upon a similar idea. You are responsible for your actions and intentions, but not necessarily for the precise outcomes, which are influenced by countless other factors. It's a little-known historical fact that many ancient philosophers, regardless of their origin, seem to grasp this core truth about human agency and its limitations. Historians still debate whether this was pure independent discovery or subtle, unrecorded cross-cultural pollination. The enduring resonance of this idea across cultures suggests its deep validity. Building on this distinction, Raja Yoga offers specific techniques to bring this understanding into direct experience, moving it from intellectual concept to lived reality. One of the most powerful is pranayama, or breath control. You might think, breathing, I do that automatically without even thinking about it, and you're right. But conscious, regulated breathing is a direct, immediate pathway to regulating your nervous system, and by extension, your emotions. When you're stressed or angry, your breath becomes shallow, rapid, and often erratic. When you're calm, it's naturally deep, slow, and even. By intentionally slowing and deepening your breath, you send a clear, unambiguous signal to your vagus nerve and ultimately to your brain that you are safe, calm, and in control. This isn't just spiritual mumbo-jumbo, it's physiological fact, backed by modern neuroscience. It's like hitting the physical reset button on your internal emotional computer, which, let's be honest, can sometimes be running far too many demanding and chaotic programs at once, leading to system crashes. This practice serves as an unshakable anchor, grounding you firmly in the present moment when your mind is prone to drifting into worry or anxiety. The Stoics, while not prescribing breathwork explicitly, certainly advocated for practices that would calm the mind and prepare it for rational thought, understanding that a disturbed mind is inherently unfit for wise judgment. Consider a moment when you felt utterly overwhelmed. Perhaps an impossible deadline loomed, or a difficult conversation weighed heavily on your mind. Your usual, knee-jerk reaction might be to frantically try to fix the external situation, or to ruminate endlessly on the problem, spinning your wheels without real progress. Both Stoicism and Raja Yoga suggest a radically different yet profoundly effective approach. Turn inward first, before reacting. Before leaping into action or being consumed by emotion, pause. For the Stoic, this pause allows for the critical application of reason, to evaluate your initial impressions, to challenge any irrational beliefs that might be fueling your distress, and to consider what truly is and isn't within your sphere of influence. For the Raja Yogi, this pause is an invitation to observe the mind itself, to witness the emotions arising without immediately identifying with them or being swept away by their intensity. This is the essence of mindfulness, detached observation. Imagine you're standing on a hill, watching clouds pass by in the sky. You don't become the cloud, you simply observe its formation, its movement, and its eventual dissolution. Similarly, your emotions are like these transient clouds. They appear, they shift, and they eventually dissipate. Learning to create a conscious space even for a brief moment between the trigger and your response gives you immense power and choice. It's truly incredible how often we allow ourselves to be swept away by thoughts and feelings we haven't even bothered to properly examine or question. The ultimate aim of these combined practices, both the Stoic discipline of reason and the Raja Yogic path of meditation, is to cultivate inner tranquility, ataraxia in Stoicism, or samadhi in Raja Yoga. This isn't a state of blissful ignorance, emotional flatness, or a denial of life's challenges. It's a profound, unwavering sense of inner stability, a mental fortress that remains unshaken by external circumstances, no matter how dire they may seem. It's the ability to feel anger when provoked, but not be consumed or controlled by that anger. To experience profound sadness during loss, but not be irrevocably defined by that sadness. Both philosophies offer a proven, albeit demanding, path to this enduring calm, not by denying reality or wishing problems away, but by fundamentally changing your relationship to reality and your own internal experience of it. The Stoics achieved this through rigorous self-examination, the cultivation of virtue, and rational acceptance of what cannot be changed. The Raja Yogis approached it through systematic meditation, ethical living, and concentration, purifying the mind to reveal its inherent peaceful and clear nature. Think of a deep well. Even if the surface is disturbed by violent ripples, the water at the bottom remains perfectly still and clear. The practices we're exploring are precisely about accessing and dwelling in that deep, still, and untouched part of yourself, no matter how chaotic or turbulent the surface of your life might seem at any given moment. This is true freedom. Now that we've explored the foundational principles of controlling our internal reactions, let's dive deeper into the practical application, specifically focusing on breath, focus, and emotional freedom. You might be thinking, okay, I get the theory, but how do I actually do this when my boss is yelling or my train is delayed and I'm already late for an important meeting? That's a fair question because theory without practice is like owning a fancy cookbook, but never actually stepping into the kitchen and getting your hands dirty. The real magic happens when these ancient insights become integrated into your daily life, transforming how you experience moments of stress, frustration, or even pure joy. It's about building a mental muscle memory. So when life throws you a curveball, your automatic response isn't panic or a frantic scramble, but a calm, deliberate adjustment, a measured and effective response. This isn't just about coping. It's about thriving in the face of adversity, becoming more resilient and adaptable than you ever thought possible. The practice of pranayama, or conscious breath regulation, is a cornerstone of Raja Yoga, and it offers immediate, tangible benefits for emotional control. Imagine your breath as the direct remote control for your nervous system. A shallow, rapid, and erratic breath signals panic, fight or flight, and heightened anxiety. A deep, slow, and rhythmic breath signals calm, safety, and a state of rest and digest. By deliberately extending your exhalations, for instance, making them longer than your inhalations, you actively activate your parasympathetic nervous system, effectively triggering the body's natural rest and digest response and dampening the stress response. This isn't just a quaint ancient belief or esoteric spiritual practice. Modern science, particularly in fields like neurobiology, psychophysiology, and even cardiology, has extensively documented the profound and immediate link between breath patterns, heart rate variability, and emotional states. It's a little-known fact that some historical figures, from ancient Roman emperors like Marcus Aurelius, who was known for his calm under pressure, to great military strategists throughout history, subtly employed forms of focused breathing, or mental pauses before critical decisions or facing immense pressure, though they might not have called it pranayama, or understood the exact physiological mechanisms. Historians still debate the specific techniques they might have used, whether it was a deliberate meditation or simply an intuitive response to stress, but the underlying principle of calming the mind to enhance clarity and decision-making remains remarkably consistent across time and cultures. It truly makes you wonder how much deeper human understanding goes across millennia, doesn't it? Beyond breath, focused attention is another powerful tool shared by both these profound traditions, crucial for maintaining emotional equilibrium. Raja Yoga emphasizes dharana, concentration, as a crucial preparatory step towards deeper meditation, dhyana, and ultimately higher states of consciousness, samadhi. This involves training your mind to fix its attention on a single point, whether it's the sensation of your breath, a specific mantra, a visual image, or even a single thought. The purpose isn't to escape reality or ignore problems, but precisely the opposite: to train your mind to stay present, to resist the incessant pull of internal and external distractions, and to regain control over the stream of errant, often unhelpful thoughts. Think of your mind as a boisterous, easily distracted puppy. If left untrained and unfocused, it will chew on everything in sight, bark at every shadow, and run wild, creating chaos. Concentration is like giving that puppy a focused, engaging task, teaching it discipline, consistency, and how to channel its energy productively. Similarly, Stoicism, through practices like prososh, attention, urges you to constantly be vigilant and aware of your judgments and impressions. It's a continuous internal questioning. Am I interpreting this event negatively? Is this particular thought truly serving my highest good or simply stirring up unnecessary distress? It's like having an internal editor or a wise gatekeeper at the entrance of your mind, constantly refining your mental narrative and preventing unexamined impulses from taking hold. This disciplined focus helps you avoid giving undue weight to fleeting emotions preventing them from snowballing into overwhelming, irrational states. Now, let's talk about emotional freedom. This isn't about becoming a cold, unfeeling robot, devoid of natural human emotions. That's a common misconception, and frankly, it sounds about as appealing as a party with no music, no laughter, and no genuine connection. Instead, it's about developing a healthy, conscious distance from your emotions, allowing them to flow through you like passing weather patterns without dictating your actions, clouding your judgment, or consuming your inner peace. The Stoics achieved this through rigorous self-examination, applying reason to their desires and aversions, and by constantly reminding themselves of the impermanence of all things and the objective, neutral nature of events. They would observe their emotions, acknowledge their presence, but then rationally decide if those emotions were aligned with virtue and reason, or if they were simply irrational impulses. Raja Yoga achieves this through the practice of vairagya, non-attachment, which isn't detachment from life or from loving others, but rather from the clinging to specific outcomes of your actions and from the over-identification with the ephemeral nature of sensory experiences and material possessions. It's about not letting your happiness, your contentment, or your inner stability be solely dependent on external outcomes or fluctuating circumstances. You can enjoy success and abundance without being enslaved by the incessant need for it, and you can experience profound loss or disappointment without being completely crushed or defined by it. Integrating these practices means a continuous dance between focused effort and compassionate, mindful observation. When you feel a strong emotion rising within you, whether it's anger, fear, or intense longing, instead of reacting immediately and impulsively, take a deep breath, or 3, or 5. Consciously shift your attention to the pure sensation of your breath, feeling it enter and leave your body, grounding yourself firmly in the present moment, anchoring yourself to the only thing truly within your control. Then, and only then, apply the Stoic lens. Is this emotion serving me right now? Is it based on a rational, objective judgment of the situation, or simply an irrational impression or a knee-jerk reaction to something I cannot change? You might find that much of your emotional turbulence comes from attaching to outcomes you can't control, from holding on to rigid expectations, or from judging situations unfairly through the filter of your own biases. By consistently practicing this deliberate pause, this conscious interrogation of your internal state, you begin to systematically dismantle the automatic chains that bind you to reactive, unhelpful patterns. It's a challenging but incredibly rewarding process, much like learning to ride a unicycle after years on a bicycle. Awkward and wobbly at first, but incredibly liberating, agile, and graceful once mastered. The journey towards true emotional freedom isn't a sprint. It's a marathon of consistent, compassionate self-awareness and unwavering practice, leading to an unshakable inner calm. Now that we've delved into the intricacies of breath and focused attention as tools for emotional freedom, let's expand our scope to understand how these internal practices shape our interaction with the external world. This brings us to the concept of the inner citadel, a term deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, which finds fascinating parallels in the self-contained awareness fostered by Raja Yoga. You might be thinking, great, so I become a calm, unshakable island, detached from everything? What about connecting with others or responding to injustice or simply enjoying the good things in life? And that's precisely the point. The inner citadel isn't a fortress of isolation designed to keep the world out, but rather a well-guarded sanctuary of your true self, allowing you to engage with the world more effectively and compassionately, not less. It's about building a robust internal operating system so you can navigate the complex, often unpredictable external software of life without constantly crashing or freezing up. This internal strength allows you to face the world, its myriad challenges and its endless opportunities with a steady gaze, a clear mind, and an open heart. The Stoics, particularly Epictetus and Marcus Aurelius, frequently spoke of this inner citadel as a mental stronghold, an unassailable place within yourself that is impervious to external events. It's where your reason, your judgments, and your virtues reside, and critically, it's the only place where true harm or good can occur. Losing your job, facing sharp criticism, or experiencing a personal setback These are external events, and while they can certainly be unpleasant, they cannot truly harm your inner self, your character, or your core being, unless you allow them to, by consenting to negative or irrational judgments about them. This aligns profoundly with the Raja Yogic concept of the Atman, the true self, which is understood as eternal, unchanging, and distinct from the transient body, mind, and emotions. The practices of Raja Yoga, through sustained meditation, aim to help you realize this true self, this core of pure consciousness which is inherently peaceful, resilient, and utterly unaffected by the fluctuations of the external world. It's a little-known historical fact that many ancient philosophers across various civilizations, including some pre-Socratic thinkers and even early Chinese Taoists, grappled with remarkably similar notions of an enduring, authentic self amidst constant change and impermanence, albeit through different terminologies and metaphors. Historians still debate the extent to which these distinct philosophical traditions might have indirectly influenced each other through ancient trade routes and cultural exchange, or simply arrived at similar profound truths independently through universal human inquiry and experience. Building this inner citadel isn't a one-time project, like constructing a house and then forgetting about it. It's a continuous process of diligent self-discipline and profound self-awareness, a daily practice of maintenance and reinforcement. For the Stoics, it involved daily reflection, regular journaling, and the powerful practice of premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, consciously contemplating potential misfortunes or difficulties to mentally prepare for them, thus robbing them of their shocking, overwhelming power when and if they actually occur. It also involved cultivating a robust, unwavering set of cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These aren't abstract ideals to merely contemplate. They are practical, actionable guides for living and for every decision, ensuring that your responses to the world are rational, ethical, and perfectly aligned with your highest self and your inherent nature. Similarly, Raja Yoga emphasizes the initial limbs of yamas, ethical restraints, and niyamas, observances, such as nonviolence, ahimsa, truthfulness, satya, contentment, santosha, and self-study, svadhyaya. These ethical foundations are absolutely crucial for purifying the mind, clearing away distractions and impurities, making it receptive to deeper meditative states. It's like meticulously preparing the soil before planting a precious garden. You wouldn't expect beautiful, vibrant flowers to grow in neglected weed-filled ground, would you? These ethical disciplines are the essential weeding, tilling, and enriching of your internal landscape, ensuring that your inner citadel is built on solid, fertile ground, capable of sustaining profound growth. Once your inner citadel is firmly established and continuously maintained, your engagement with the external world transforms in remarkable ways. You no longer react impulsively, reflexively, or emotionally to every provocation, disappointment, or unexpected turn of events. Instead, you operate from a place of considered response, of intentional choice guided by reason and virtue. When faced with injustice, you can act with courage and a clear sense of purpose, rather than being swept away by uncontrolled anger or debilitating despair. When confronted with difficult or challenging people, you can respond with temperance, patience, and a deeper understanding of their underlying motivations rather than mirroring their negativity or escalating conflict. This is where the true transformative power of these combined philosophies shines most brightly. It's not about retreating from life, becoming aloof, or avoiding engagement. It's about engaging with it more fully, more effectively, more authentically, and with greater positive impact. Imagine a seasoned diplomat navigating complex international relations. They don't get swept up in every emotional outburst or personal attack, but remain calm, rational, focused on their long-term objectives and strategically responsive. That's the kind of composed effectiveness and serene impact these practices cultivate within you. It's a funny thing how often we mistake loud, reactive displays for strength, when true power, true influence, and true peace lie in quiet, reasoned control and unwavering inner resolve. The practices of both Raja Yoga and Stoicism, when woven together provide you with the comprehensive tools to solidify this inner citadel, making your peace, your happiness, and your sense of purpose less dependent on fickle, unpredictable external circumstances. Through consistent breath work, you soothe the agitated nervous system, allowing for clearer, more rational thought. Through focused concentration and mindfulness, you train your mind to stay present, cutting through the mental chatter and rumination that often fuels anxiety and regret. Through diligent self-reflection and the rigorous application of reason, you challenge irrational beliefs, dismantle destructive thought patterns, and cultivate an unshakable virtuous character. And through practices of non-attachment and acceptance, you free yourself from the debilitating pain of desires unfulfilled and losses experienced, understanding that true joy is an internal state. This isn't about becoming indifferent or uncaring. It's about becoming profoundly resilient, deeply empathetic, and truly free. It's about building an internal reservoir of calm and wisdom that you can draw upon, no matter what storms rage outside your walls. Your inner citadel becomes a beacon of strength not just for yourself, but potentially for those around you, inspiring them through your unwavering composure, thoughtful action, and peaceful presence in a chaotic world. It's a journey that continually reinforces itself, each step solidifying the foundation for the next, leading to a life of profound serenity and purpose. As we approach the culmination of our exploration, let's shift our focus to the essential, often overlooked steps. Practice, integrate, and ultimately, live authentically. You've absorbed the principles, examined the tools, and begun sketching the contours of your own inner citadel. But knowledge, no matter how profound, is like a beautifully detailed map hidden in a drawer. Unless you take that first step down the actual path, unless you engage with the terrain beneath your feet, it remains just ink on paper. Real transformation, lasting peace, doesn't arise from mere intellectual understanding. It grows from steady, embodied application. In the midst of daily chaos, in the ordinary and unpredictable, the extraordinary happens when these ancient teachings become the compass you live by. It's about allowing timeless wisdom to breathe within you, to shape your instincts, influence your choices, and mold your reactions just like a river slowly sculpting its way through unyielding rock. This is not about reaching some final summit and resting. It's about developing a new way of being, a continuous unfolding toward freedom and clarity, moment by moment. The first vital step is consistent, deliberate practice. Think of it like training for a marathon or learning to play jazz piano. You wouldn't expect to run 26 miles on a whim or improvise a masterpiece without disciplined preparation, right? Cultivating inner peace, mental strength, and emotional flexibility demands similar commitment. In the tradition of Raja Yoga, this often begins with a daily meditation routine, just 10 or 15 minutes of focused breathwork, pranayama, and one-pointed attention, dharana. This regular inward turn strengthens your capacity to stay grounded, observe your thoughts without getting swept away, and remain present even when life gets loud. In Stoicism, practice often takes the form of journaling and reflection, reviewing your day, dissecting your responses, and applying the dichotomy of control with thoughtful rigor. Interestingly, historical records suggest that both Seneca and Marcus Aurelius kept journals close at hand, scribbling insights throughout the day like field notes on the mind's terrain. Historians still debate the exact content of these writings, but the discipline itself speaks volumes. It was through the repetition of daily introspection that these Stoics refined their wisdom and built resilience. Just as you nourish your body each day for strength and vitality, you must feed and train your mind with purpose and awareness to sustain mental well-being. And this doesn't have to feel like a burden. It's actually one of the most empowering things you can do for yourself. A quiet, consistent investment in your inner freedom. Next comes integration. It's one thing to experience calm on a meditation cushion. It's quite another to carry that calm into the chaos of real life. Integration means the wisdom you cultivate in silence must spill outward into your relationships, your workplace, your traffic jams, and tense conversations. It's about allowing your practice to inform your behavior when it matters most. For example, The deep steadiness cultivated through breathwork should show up when you're caught in a stressful meeting or navigating a family argument. The Stoic principle of controlling your response, not external events, becomes your anchor when flights get canceled or plans go sideways. It's not about perfection, it's about consistent, conscious application. Picture this. You're standing, in line at a packed airport, flight delayed again, hungry, tired, and under pressure. You could fume, or you could breathe, soften your posture, accept the delay, and choose a wise response. Maybe you catch up on a book. Maybe you observe people around you with curiosity, not judgment. This is integration in action. Simple, yet profoundly powerful. It's the bridge between theory and experience, between knowing and being. Like a seasoned artist who blends precision with spontaneity, you begin responding to life with clarity and grace rather than emotional reflexes. And now, the most beautiful, often hardest goal, to live authentically. When you practice regularly and integrate deeply, you begin peeling away the layers of fear, self-doubt, and the never-ending chase for approval. You move toward a state where your decisions, your values, and your very presence align with who you truly are, not who the world wants you to be. You begin to act from a place of deep conviction, not reactivity, from self-knowledge, not insecurity. This kind of authenticity is the mark of the Stoic sage and the enlightened yogi alike, a person who is at peace with themselves, clear in intention, and untethered from fleeting emotional storms or societal noise. Living authentically doesn't mean becoming aloof or humorless. Quite the opposite. It means tapping into a quiet joy, a calm confidence, and even a playful sense of perspective. It's the kind of presence that can smile at a minor mishap, chuckle at the absurdity of morning coffee obsessions, or shrug off the drama of a broken phone screen. You gain a lightness, not because life is easier, but because you're no longer burdened by the illusion that it should be perfect. This whole path, the weaving together of Raja Yoga and Stoicism, is about changing not what happens around you, but how you meet it. It's about realizing you may not control the wind, but you absolutely control your sails. You're no longer just reacting to life. You're consciously shaping your experience from the inside out. These ancient paths, though born thousands of years ago, offer strikingly relevant tools for today's world, for handling uncertainty, stress, conflict, and change. This isn't just a theory to admire. It's an active call to reclaim your inner authority, to sharpen your mind and to root yourself in wisdom that endures through the ups and downs of modern living. Ultimately, it's about living a life that is unmistakably your own, authentic, empowered, and infused with the kind of clarity that naturally brings peace not just to yourself, but to everyone around you. You become not just a practitioner of these ideas, but a living example, a source of calm in a stormy world. The light begins to dim. The outside world, with all its noise and momentum, gently fades. Let these words settle like quiet ripples across still water. Feel the calm take root, the clarity deepen. This inner journey does not end here. It continues long after this moment, carried forward in your thoughts, your breath, your being. May your path be bright, your choices clear, and your spirit ever free. End of script. Thank you for listening, everyone.